This is Small Biz Florida, the podcast designed and produced specifically for Florida small business owners and entrepreneurs. Small Biz Florida, talk that works for Florida. This podcast is supported by the Florida SBDC Network, providing the tools, strategies, and expertise to help Florida's business community thrive. Visit the Florida SBDC online at www.floridasbdc.org or contact your local office and get started on your path to success today.
This is Small Biz Florida, the podcast and broadcast. It's all things business across the state of Florida. And very exciting segment here. Very honored and pleased to have with us today on Small Biz Florida, Mr. Alex Sanchez, who serves as the CEO and president of the Florida Bankers Association. Alex, thank you so much for taking time out to be on Small Biz Florida.
No, Tom, thanks for inviting us, and thanks for everything you and the college does every day to help small business owners. You all have here such an incredible entrepreneurship program. It's amazing how you help Floridians achieve their dream of small business ownership.
Well, I'm telling you, and you were actually down today. Give a little reference to where we are today. But you actually came down from Tallahassee. You led an event here today at Indian River State College, and we're going to talk about those events in a minute that you've been leading across the state of Florida. But led an event to help small business owners talk about how to become bankable, because as we all know, access to capital is so important for entrepreneurs and small business owners. Yes, the SBDC, and as I mentioned in the event this morning, I was a small business owner and had no idea all these resources were out here. So yes, I thank you for recognizing the work of the SBDC and Indian River State College. But as we always do, Mr. Sanchez, just start us with a little bit of your background, your pathway to the Florida Bankers Association.
Well, Tom, I've had an incredible, blessed journey, and I'm an immigrant child to this great country. And you really, no matter where you're from and who you are, the opportunities offered in the United States are second to none. But you got to work hard. And, I served our country in the military and then went to law school and then came back home to Florida to practice and joined the Bankers Association 29 years ago. And I'm the third CEO in our 135-year history. Wow. So it's an honor for me to serve in that capacity. And the organization was founded in 1888 to have a voice in our democracy, whatever the profession, whatever the industry, in both Tallahassee and in Washington. Whatever the industry in Tallahassee or in Washington, you have to have a voice in our democracy with elected officials, and that's what the Florida Bankers Association do. Our main focus is to always enhance and advocate for a stronger economy so that more Americans will be homeowners and business owners. And we believe that we're a reflection of the economy. If our local communities are doing well, our banks will do well as well.
Nice. And what's really been impressive, Alex, is the work you've been doing the last number of months. You've kind of been on a statewide tour,
right.
The Sanchez tour.
Right.
You have been partnering with SBDC centers across the state of Florida, done a number of these. Where you have come in, you've put together a panel of local bankers, and you're conducting these seminars, workshops, inviting in small business owners, and really kind of giving them a workshop on how to become bankable, how to get the access to the capital they need to start, grow, and expand. Talk about this, talk about your tour.
Well, Tom, look, it's so exciting to see all the aspiring small business owners in the audience. I mean, they're taking the time from their regular job to come to a meeting in a facilities such as here, and kudos, and I applaud these great folks who are doing this because, I'm on many. I have the opportunity to appear on national business shows. And the discussion there is always about big business, and those are important to our economy, there's no question. Big American corporations are important. They employ thousands of people, and they play a vital role in our country. But the reality is that 60% of Americans work for small businesses. So that's a big number. That's the majority number. So small business plays a vital role in the Florida economy, in the national economy, and that's where, and then there's a movement of shop local, and people want to support their local businesses. So I applaud these Floridians that I'm seeing on the tour throughout our state, and what our bankers are doing, Tom, is explaining to them what it takes to be in financial tip-top shape to start that small business, the passion they need, the financial conditioning that they need, and to get their ducks in a row, as they say. And once they do that, they can realize that dream of opening that small business.
Yeah, and of course, I sat in and listened to the presentation, and as you wrapped up the presentation, I got to say, very inspiring. Comments and in your close, as you told people, there's literally hundreds of thousands, millions of small business owners out there successfully operating those businesses. They're profitable. They're generating wealth for their families. Why can't that be you? You kind of posed the question there at the end to our audience, and I think it's a great question and it's a valid question. And so I think you left our entrepreneurs and small business owners inspired. Talk about what that means to you when you say, why can't you do it?
Right. Tom, when the opportunity came along at the Florida Bankers Association and for the position of the CEO job, I had to decide, should I stay where I am within the Florida Bankers Association, or should I apply to be the president and CEO? And I went ahead and applied for it because why not me? I felt I was ready. Just like I think these men and women here this morning were ready to start their small business. I just talked to one who actually did start her small business. It's a baking business here in town, and she sells baking supplies, and she actually creates cakes and cupcakes for office environments and personal purchases, and that's been her passion, is baking all her life. Now she's taking that passion and exploding that passion to serve the interest not just of family members and friends, but of hundreds and thousands of people by her baking, who will buy her cakes and cupcakes. So to realize that dream, to be the captain of your own ship, is so fulfilling. And again, I applaud these men and women here today.
So let's talk a little bit of the big picture in the state of Florida. What is the state of banking today in the state of Florida? Mergers, acquisitions, partnerships, collaborations. We've seen some old names that we knew for years have disappeared. New names. What's kind of the state of banking in the state of Florida?
Tom, look, banking in Florida is stronger than ever, and while we have less institutions, and mainly because whether you have a bank or you have a shoe store or you have a clothing store, everybody wants to come to Florida. And those people in those three industries, and many others, of course, all want to be in Florida. So their best way to get market share is by buying an existing business. And that does not exclude banks. And so,
good point.
And so Florida is booming. We're number 3 in the country now in population and growing. And that's not going to change because people are moving here from all over the country because Florida is a very attractive place. We obviously know about the weather, but people are tired of paying all the taxes they do up in the Northeast, in the Midwest, and they're coming down here saying there's no state income tax. There's great schools. Our universities are top 20 now. University of Florida is top 5. Florida State's in the top 15. Others are in high rankings. This is why I want to live with my family. And Florida, proved that during the pandemic,
Right.
that, if you're a small business owner, you had a better chance of succeeding even during the pandemic
Right.
than you did in places like California and New York
Right.
because of leadership. So I think, Governor DeSantis has done a great job for our state. And he fought hard to protect us against the pandemic, but also to allow small businesses to continue operating. Because small business owners can't close their doors for 6 months. They don't have the capital to do that.
Right.
And the governor understood that very clearly. So I think Florida is an attractive place, not only for banking, but for many other industries.
So you really kind of answered my next question. Overall business environment. I mean, Florida is a great state, as you pointed out.
Right.
We've had leadership for multiple terms now that really understood business and recruited well. So what is your take on the business environment in Florida? Still very strong, supportive of small business?
It is. I mean, we've got so many companies. The Citadel Financial Group just left Chicago and moved their corporate headquarters to Florida. And that's happening so much, thanks to the leadership of Governor DeSantis. And you're right, other governors like Governor Bush, Governor Scott have also been very instrumental in moving Florida up and diversifying our economy, which was basically tourism, agriculture,
Right.
and now they've diversified to add
Right.
tech in, to add the medical profession. So we've been fortunate. We've had great leaders in our state. And again, I think, Florida is on the cutting edge. I mean, we are, whenever I travel and I tell people I'm from Florida, you get a gleam in their eye. You get people
Right.
say, wow, Florida.
Do you have an extra room? Can I come down and visit?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So we're blessed here in Florida. We really, really are.
Let's talk about a touchy subject for small banks. Just banks in general. It's tough for startups, entrepreneurs. Where do they find that startup capital? I mean, what's your take on new startups, new business? How do we address that need for capital?
My reaction to your question, Tom, is let's keep funding them, and it's important to our economy. Since 60% of Floridians and 60% of Americans work for small businesses, they're really the foundation of the house. You can't build a house without a strong foundation. If not, you're going to have a problem. And our economy, we need to continue to promote, as the colleges,
Right.
small business ownership, and to see these men and women who are aspiring to be the owner of their dream of small business is what moves this economy. And I will tell you, our banks are committed to lending to start these businesses up, whether it's through the bank loan of a SBA, Small Business
right.
Administration type loan. There's other partners in the communities that we use and partner with to make that capital available. So I think that's not going to change, and I'm very, very happy at the clip and at the rate that our banks are financing small business startups.
Okay. And I actually heard, I was listening to a Wall Street Journal report on, I think, the Journal podcast. I recently did a segment on, is recession coming? Where are we? Listen, it's been a very optimistic day here at Indian River State College. I want to stay optimistic. But, as business people, we can't help but forecast, look ahead. That's being thoughtful business owners. What's your take on all this? I think, again, you may have already answered the question. Florida is a resilient state. I think this is, if we're going to have a downturn, this might be a great place to ride it out.
Right.
But what are your thoughts? Where do you think we're headed in the big picture of business?
Tom, leadership is important, and one leader can make a big difference. Look at our global history. Where would the United Kingdom have been without the leadership of Winston Churchill during World War II? as the London, their capital, was being bombarded day and night. Mr. Churchill inspired the British people, to a higher level to withstand the assault on their country by Nazi Germany. And so leadership matters. Leadership counts. Ronald Reagan took over one of the worst economies in 1980, where I remember my first loan was at 11%.
Because my father-in-law asked me all the time how old I was in the 70s, just implying that I don't really know tough times.
Right. And so Mr. Reagan, again, one person provided our country great leadership to raise the level of confidence in the United States. So I think our country needs leadership. I think we're lacking it in many, many ways right now. And our economy has turned here in the last year because of lack of leadership, starting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. So leadership is important. And I think, we have record inflation. We have to have a balance on energy needs. The United States went from exporting oil and energy to now asking one of the dirtiest producers of the dirtiest oil in the world, Venezuela, to export more oil to the United States, for God's sake. I mean, that's where we are today, where we didn't need Venezuela, 18, 24 months ago. So we've got to start with our energy needs. There's got to be a balance between fossil fuel and green energy. It can't be just all green energy. We're not ready for that. Electric cars are good, but immigrant families like mine can't afford an electric car, and most people cannot either. So we've got to protect our world and have a balance of fossil fuel and green energies, but you cannot mandate green energies down everyone's throat, because the economy's not ready for that. Second and last point is, we're finally realizing what China is. China is a competitor to the United States, and possibly even more than that. And we have cuddled China for many presidential administrations, and it's time that we take China seriously. I personally would like to see more of the manufacturing jobs, as they are happening, come back to the United States. We need manufacturing jobs for national security. We don't want everything made in China. China has a $500 billion trade surplus with us every year. So just imagine that. We buy $500 billion more in products from them than they buy from us. That's not a good thing for our country. So leadership is important, Tom. And again, our history of not only our country, but of the world has shown that.
And again, I know you're in tune with all that's going on in across the state of Florida in terms of business, but I will tell you, we Small Biz Florida, the podcast, was recently at the Florida Makes Conference, which is the organization that kind of promotes and supports manufacturing. And I can tell you, there is an awful lot of manufacturing going on in the state of Florida today. So yes, you're absolutely right. It is happening. It is coming back. So
good.
Listen, again, I cannot thank you enough, Alex, for taking the time to visit Indian River State College, partner with the Florida SBDC here at Indian River State College, and your partnerships with the other SBDCs across the state of Florida, putting on these How to Make My Business Bankable workshops and seminars, inspirational and helpful to small business owners.
Well, Tom, Indian River State College is doing some great innovative things. I've been very impressed with the campus. And all the partners that you all have, the Florida State, College of Medicine. I mean, it's amazing what you all are doing here. I mean, you got to be proud. This institution serves this region of Florida, and you're preparing a lot of Floridians for the future and the economic advances that we're going to make as a state and as a country. They're being prepared right here. So kudos to you and the entire faculty.
Well, I'm not taking credit for it, but yeah.
No, and Dr. Moore and the whole faculty, because you're preparing our sons and daughters to take our state and our country to the next level.
Thank you, sir. Banking is important. Banking is important. It is a critical component of small business, critical component of entrepreneurship. We appreciate your leadership at the Florida Bankers Association and all that your members do across the state of Florida to support the business community.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And I'll tell your good friends, the Browns.
Yes, please.
That you said hello. Very legendary bankers in our region.
Mike and Mimi are just the salt of the earth. They're wonderful people, so committed to Fort Pierce and to the state of Florida, really. But they're wonderful, wonderful people. Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It is Alex Sanchez who serves as the president and CEO of the Florida Bankers Association. Thank you, sir. Listen, that'll bring to close this segment of Small Biz Florida. We appreciate the listenership and appreciate the support. So talk to you next time. This is Small Biz Florida.
This has been Small Biz Florida, created and produced by the Florida Small Business Development Center at Indian River State College. Your host for Small Biz Florida is Tom Kindred. Partners for Small Biz Florida include WPSL and WSTU and Indian River State College, named the 2019 winner of the Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence.